Dear individual name, we value your business and respect the privacy of your information, which is why, as a precautionary measure,
we're writing to let you know about a data security incident that may involves your personal information.
would you like to know where to find that stuff on Westlaw? What we're going to do in the next couple minutes is show you some resources on practical law, Westlaw, and proof of facts that can be very helpful for you in your data security breach class. Let's go live and show you right now. So that language is here on practical law, and you can get to it in a variety of ways. One of them is with this little drop-down wedge. So if you're used to logging into Westlaw, you can notice that here from this drop-down wedge, practical law is right over there.
Or you can go over here on the right-hand side and view practical law that way.
Yeah, so either way you slice it, we'll go into practical law right here. Now, keep in mind that you may have a cause of action in a lot of different jurisdictions. So one way of figuring that out is the state Q&A tool here from the right-hand side. Obviously, if you're using 50 state surveys on Westlaw, that is another way of getting to this stuff. But the state Q&A will let you build your own so that way you don't have to sift through a bunch of jurisdictions where you might not care if you have a cause of action or not. When we hit access now, there are a couple things that we will do. Along this right-hand side, we can go start comparing, or we can browse different practice areas from this side. I'm going to go with start comparing. See anything here that might be possibly relevant, maybe under IP and technology?
Probably the data breach notification laws.
That seems pretty helpful. So from here, we have some options, right? You can check the boxes for different questions, or you can just hit select all. And then at the bottom, select some jurisdictions.
Let's select my favorite state, Indiana.
Oh, mine's Iowa. When we go to compare, you will be able to actually go between Indiana and Iowa's answers for these different questions, and then scroll between the questions by going with these little numbers here. Now, one thing that's pretty nifty is that you can actually save this to folders on Westlaw. You ever save things to folders?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
for every research paper has its own folder.
Yeah, if you check this out here, saving practical law content to your Westlaw folders means that you'll be able to access the same insights the next time you go through. Oh, and by the way, when you graduate, you'll be able to take that stuff with you with this transfer my data button at the bottom. That's new. That's cool. How cool is that? Okay.
Pretty cool.
So from the code, you'll notice that in the citing references, you will also see practical law. It's like the circle of life.
Always comes back around.
And so no matter how you go, whether you start with the code and then you go into practical law, or you start with practical law and you go to the code, it's all connected on Westlaw, which is also pretty great. Any questions about that 50 state survey kind of Q&A process?
You can compare all of them, correct?
And then you can do that just by selecting more jurisdictions or selecting more questions. And I think that's definitely one way of doing that. Again, that process will be along the right-hand side where you've got that state Q&A button. Now, a couple other things that you can do inside practical law, and you can get to them from this little practice areas thing. You'll notice we found the area IP and technology, which is where that data breach Q&A was. And so if you go up here to privacy and data security, there's going to be a lot more other resources, and you can actually see them filtered along the side over here. More resource types is a way to expand that list out so that you see something called toolkit. These 8 toolkits are kind of like a landing page or a gateway to a lot of different resources on practical law. Maybe you're not specifically advising a hospital on HIPAA, but maybe a mom and pop shop about just general information security or data breach or compliance. Within here, you're going to be able to see this little general overview along with lists of categories that would be able to link you out to things like, oh, the same stuff that we were looking at before, charts, Q&As, along with things like practice notes. Why might it be important to kind of figure out the key issues in something complicated and new? because you might not know. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, if it's new, I mean, there are practicing attorneys that they can't even keep up.
Yeah.
So
you got to figure out whether you can call it the cavalry or not, or if this is something that you can maybe take care of yourself. I personally am not a big data breach lawyer or anything like that. So just knowing that this is a really complicated issue, which the practice note can tell you, hey, these are kind of the wrinkles and the special ongoing difficulties, hacking cases. Wow, interesting. And then that would just give you enough of a vocabulary to be able to maybe look for colleagues to help you out on here, or just even know what's
or be able to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what if I needed to send a letter to my client that, you know, some data breach has happened, and maybe I'm the attorney for the hospital?
That's a really interesting question. If we go back to practical law where that landing page was under privacy and data security, maybe data breach letter would be a pretty handy starting point. I don't know. If we look through some of these, there might be a standard document that would be very illuminating for us.
What about the data security breach notice letter?
Well, if we click into it, one thing we'll find that's interesting is that you're going to have a lot of little caveats here, like read this before using document, drafting notifications, things that would kind of give you some context, not just giving you like this form and saying like, use this form, but here's why to use this form. Here's how it fits into kind of the grand scheme of everything you should be doing here, along with some other practice notes, legal updates, particular jurisdictional wrinkles that would be different. I mean, if we look through here, there'll be specific things that say like, hey, this state requires this particular thing. And as you scroll through here, you're going to be able to say, hey, Massachusetts law is pretty picky. So if you're litigating in there, you know, you might want to keep in mind you can't say it affects 1 million people because that's illegal under Massachusetts law. Oops.
Oh, Massachusetts.
Anyway,
back to Indiana and Iowa.
Back to the homepage of Practical Law. Again, you get to that from the practice areas, IP and technology, or resource estate Q&A. Finally, within Westlaw, there is one resource that is probably my favorite because it allows me to pretend like I'm Perry Mason or something like that.
I bet I know what this is.
Called proof of facts. Proof of facts is like the script for a winning case. And you may have used this before in like clinic to get ready for a direct examination of a family law client or something like that. When you get to this landing page, though, you'll give you the most 10 recent documents. Check out that first one.
Could that be any more perfect?
I'm not sure, but proof of facts is continually being updated with kind of the latest and greatest emerging causes of action. And obviously, electronic data is like a big deal these days.
Absolutely.
Although neurotoxic injury, if you feel like your daily science lesson is definitely out there. Vapor intrusion. I guess some people are getting sued because of that fracking thing. And within a proof of facts article, which you can obviously search and find only on Westlaw, you will get not only the boring old encyclopedia version of the legal background, I mean, bailment and all that exciting property law stuff, but damages, elements of proof, sample intake to be able to spot a winner, and your Perry Mason moment, right? Where you've got this bailment, and guess what? There's a breach of the bailment, and these questions are a way of proving it. That's pretty cool. Again, save it to folders, email it to yourself, all that grand stuff. Where can you go if you've got more questions? Are there like Westlaw student reps and like cool people that can help you with these questions?
I mean, I might know someone.
Yeah, I mean, you can probably find that out too. Let's go live again and show you where that info is. If you're on the lawschool.westlaw.com page, things that you can do if you can figure out how to sign on like me. Okay, so we've got this messaging thing here. Connect with your account manager is going to connect you to, well, if you're at IU, it's going to connect you to me. Under TWEN, you're going to be able to see contact information not only for your school's account manager, but for your super awesome student reps that are there as well.
That would be me.
Yeah, so also, if you are on the YouTubes and you look for Westlaw walkthroughs, that's where this is going to be. I upload new stuff to the channel after every class where the professor says you can share this. So keep your eye open for that cool stuff as well. Thanks for watching. We'll talk with you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.